How's it going, guys? Let's talk Rugby World Rankings for a little bit because we have, as South Africans, a very, very big year ahead of us, and our number one spot could be on the line. So, I want to break that down, go through the World Rankings, the biggest winners, biggest losers so far, and let's just have a chat. So, please like and subscribe, it really does help the channel grow. And let's break this down. So, first of all, South Africa, they are still number one. They're still number one by a fair amount. So we don't necessarily have anything to worry about right now. But we do have the likes of New Zealand, Ireland, and France nipping at our heels. Now, France did lose, and we saw Ireland win. New Zealand came through with a relatively shaky win as well, which, albeit we got to take in consideration, it is a weaker French side. So this top four is becoming increasingly more difficult, and especially with South Africa. I do believe they are going to be playing France much later in the year, but the big one is going to be up against New Zealand, especially at Eden Park. I feel this is going to be a decision maker as to who's first or who's second. We all know New Zealand are an absolutely dominant side when it comes down to rugby, and they have the highest win success in rugby of all time. But what's going to be the real decider here? Because South Africa have an immense squad, a lot of depth, and Rassi is going through the motions. He's making use of a lot of players, as we saw with the first test up against Italy, to now the second test that we are seeing up against Italy. There is a big, big change. So I can pretty much see, the top four kind of staying as it is. Maybe there might be a slight change between Ireland and France, depending on how things go. But definitely right now with France's tour of New Zealand and Ireland's games, I can pretty much see things staying as it is. So it's going to be interesting to see how we go come closer to the end of the year, right, and how things will stand. Now, one of the bigger winners of recent results is England. They came through an absolute smashing of Argentina and actually helped them by going up one place, now sitting only just outside of the top four, whereas Argentina were really pushing. And Argentina are playing some of the best rugby that they've ever played, some of the most powerful and some of the most dominant rugby. But England are again showing their talent pool, their depth. I mean, Argentina beat the Lions just prior to them starting their Lions tour. Um, and England came through with an absolutely spectacular win. George Ford putting in an amazing performance, and just amazing performance littered throughout. So it's going to be interesting to see how England get on with Argentina, if they're able to continue their winning ways, especially come later on into the year once they get, I think they have around 10 Lions or something like that are currently touring with the British and Irish Lions. So when they get them back, I mean, most notably, you have the likes of Maro Itoje, Ollie Chesham, Henry Pollock, Mitchell, Tommy Freeman, Marcus Smith, Ellis Genge. So there's a lot of talent there that is currently playing for the Lions and that England are without. So this is a very, very good chance, a very good spot for England to be in. Winning games, high pressure games with the sub tier players that are looking to keep in the eye of Steve Borthwick, in the hope to say, look, I am going to challenge for the spot. So England are doing absolutely phenomenally. We are going to see how they get on. Hopefully there's not too many injuries and things like that, but definitely very, very promising for England, currently sitting in fifth. Everybody else kind of stay the same, but one of the biggest losers now, however, is Wales. So after Wales absolutely crumbled and Japan had such an amazing comeback in their game over the weekend, things you would think just couldn't get worse for Wales. After that loss to Japan, Japan has now moved up one spot into 12th, and uh yes, so Wales have moved down two spots into 14th, Japan have moved one spot into 12th, and then Samoa has moved one spot into 13. So this actually makes Wales, I believe it's the worst placement they have ever been in. Surely something has to go right for Wales. They have to come through with a win at some point. It just feels like they are cursed at the moment. They played so well in the beginning of the first half up against Japan, but Japan, being the warriors that they are, showed their inner samurai and just put it to Wales. So, yeah, I don't know what else I can say for Wales. They are sitting just below the US of A. Like, seriously, I don't want to sound horrible, but Wales is one of the greatest rugby nations in the world, and they are currently sitting in 14th. This is not a place for them to be in. So, looking at the top 14, we have a lot of teams here that are going to have both good and bad seasons throughout the year. But most notably, the top four are going to be, the ones to watch out for. Who can catch up with South Africa? South Africa had a dominant win up against Italy, but because of that second half, where Italy managed to get 4 tries, and I think they put through a maul try up against South Africa as well, which not many people managed to do. That win was brought into doubt because now it's not just a case of, oh, we got a win. It's, we got a win, but this needs to be sorted. This needs to be sorted, because if Italy are able to put through that kind of pressure in the second half, what's stopping the likes of France, who are very dominant, who like to control the tempo and the possession of play, right? They like to keep things moving fast. South Africa need to be able to adapt to that. New Zealand love to play their flair game. They love to be, very out there, very flashy. They move the ball around very, very quickly. That's going to open up holes. We saw a very dominant physical side, right? Which island can be very, very dominant when it comes down to the likes of Andrew Porter, Sheehan, you have Jack Conan, you have all of these great, great players that are so, so strong. You know, South Africa needs to work on these things now. They need to find all their ways and routes around it for them to be able to be the best that they can be. I am honestly hoping for an unbeaten year. The likelihood of that happening, I'm pretty certain, is relatively low considering the teams that they are going to have to play. But I guess I can always hope for the best. So South Africa are going to need to make the most out of all of their yeah, all of their resources, because there's going to be a lot to fight for. And I mean, we look. Let's see here. So, who are they playing? Yes. So we have Australia. No. So we have Italy, Pretoria, and Quebec, Quebeca. Quebeca. I can never pronounce his name since they changed it. Um, we then have Georgia in Nelspruit. We then have Australia in August, New Zealand in September, Argentina in September and October. So, guys, this is no joke. This is going to be a very difficult year for the Springboks, and they are really going to need to put their best foot forward. So, let me know what you guys think. Who can catch the Springboks right now? Is there anybody in World Rugby that can catch them? Obviously, we have the likes of New Zealand, who are always hot on the tails of South Africa. But I do feel this year, France are really going to be those underdogs. They're going to be those people that nobody thinks is going to be there. And they are going to be as hot as ever on the backside of South Africa. I think they're going to close that gap between them, Ireland, and New Zealand. And they are going to start putting pressure on the Springboks. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But please, I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. As always, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.